जय कुंज बिहारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभा जय गिरिवरधारी जय गिरिवरधारी यशोदनन्दन ब्रज जनराञ्जन जमुनतीरावनचारि जय राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभा जय गिरिवरधारी जय गिरिवरधारी यशोदनन्दन ब्रज जनराञ्जन जमुनतीरावनचारि हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Radha Radhanath Radha Radhanath Radhe. Jai Giri Govardhan Giri Govardhan Giri Govardhan. Jai Giri Govardhan. Jai Prabhupada Prabhupada Prabhupada. Jai Prabhupada. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Acharya Aswatasthara Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki jai. Jaya Om Vishnupada Paramhamsa Privaracharya Aswatasthara Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Maharaj ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Namacharya Shri Haridas Thakur ki jai. Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Sari Gaura Bhaktivinoda ki jai. Shri Shri Radha Radhanath ki jai. Shri Giriraj Govardhan ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Go Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. So thank you, Paramatma Prabhu, for allowing me to speak on your platform. And to all the devotees who have joined, thank you for your support. And this is very encouraging to the speaker. So we'll do Bhagavad Gita 7.8. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Jnana Timirandhasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Sapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamaya Tadati Swapadantikam. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radhikanta Namaste. Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye. Vanchakalpatarubhescha Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Patitanam Pavinebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So the verse goes as follows. Rasoham apsakunteya prabhashmi sasi suryaha pranava sarvavedeshu shabdike purusham nishu. Again. Rasoham apsakunteya prabhashmi sasi suryaha pranava sarvavedeshu shabdike purusham nishu. Rasoham apsikunteya prabhashmi sasi suryaha pranava sarvavedeshu shabdike purusham nishu. So we'll do the word for word meaning. Rasa, taste. Aham, I. Apsu, in water. Kunteya, O son of Kunti. Prabha, the light. Ashmi, I am. Shashi Shuryaha, of the moon and the sun. Pranava, the three letters. Aum. Sarva in all, Vedeshu, the Vedas, Shabda, sound vibration, Ke in ether, Purusham, ability, Nishu in men. So the translation goes as follows. O son of Kunti, I am the taste of water, the light of the sun and moon, the syllable Om in the Vedic mantras, and I am the sound in ether and ability in man. Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta, Swami Srila Prabhupada. This verse explains how the Lord is all-pervasive by His diverse material and spiritual energies. The Supreme Lord can be primarily perceived by His different energies, and in this way, He is realized impersonally. As the demigod in the sun is a person and is perceived by His all-pervading energy, the sunshine, the Lord, although in His eternal abode, is perceived by His all-pervading diffusive energies. The taste of water is an active principle of water. No one likes to drink seawater because the pure taste of water is mixed with salt. Attraction for water depends on the purity of the taste. And this pure taste is one of the energies of the Lord. The impersonalist perceives the presence of the Lord in water by its taste. And the personalists glorify the Lord for His kindly supplying tasty water to quench man's thirst. That is the way of perceiving the Supreme. Practically speaking, there is no conflict between personalism and impersonalism. One who knows God knows that the impersonal concept and the personal concept are simultaneously present in everything, and that there is no contradiction. Therefore, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu established his sublime doctrine, Achintya Bheda and Abheda Tattva, simultaneously one and different. The light of the sun and moon is already originally emanating from the Brahmajyoti, which is the impersonal effulgence of the Lord. And the pranava, the omkara, transcendental sound, is the very beginning of every Vedic hymn. Addresses the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Because the impersonalists are very much afraid of addressing the Supreme Lord Krishna by his innumerable names, they prefer to vibrate the transcendental sound, Omkara. But they do not realize that Omkara is a sound representation of Krishna. The jurisdiction of Krishna consciousness extends everywhere, and one who knows Krishna consciousness is blessed. Those who do not know Krishna are in illusion, and so knowledge of Krishna is liberation, and ignorance of him is bondage. So that ends Prabhupada's purport. We'll just try to say something on this verse. Normally, Krishna, he basically states that we should always think of him, right? His different manifestations. We should always think of Krishna. And in the Bhagavad Gita, he says in 934 and also in the 18th chapter, Man Manabhava Mad Bhakto Man Yajimam Namaskuru, that we should always think of him, of our obeisances unto him, of our homage unto him. And in this way, we surely will go to him, will come to him, right? So during the day, it is very difficult to think of Krishna all the time, especially if you're working and, you got so many responsibilities. It's very difficult to think of the Lord all the time. But we see in this chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, in the 7th chapter, that Krishna is giving us little hints on how we can remember him throughout the day. And he says that I'm the taste of water. Now, if we drink water, can we think of Krishna? Generally not, right? We just go to the tap, open it, and dunk some water down our throat, close the tap, and and that's it. We don't think of Krishna when we're drinking water. But here, Krishna is giving us a hint, and he says that the pure taste of water is him. So now, normally, when we drink water, we can think that this is Krishna's energy. This is, the taste of water is Krishna. So in this way, we can think of Krishna. So, so I was just thinking that, it's so easy. Prabhupada has actually, Krishna has made it so easy for us to think of him just by drinking water. In a lecture given by Srila Prabhupada in Mumbai, 23rd of February, 1974, he says that, we can drink water and think of Krishna, and we can even drink wine and think of Krishna. Any liquid, he says, is possible. If the taste, if we love that taste, then we can think that this taste is coming from Krishna. But obviously, we don't propagate drinking of alcohol and wine. But some people, they normally do this, right? And basically in Hindu culture, I know of some people who those who worship the ancestors, basically, they pour a little alcohol on the ground before they consume it. So in this way, just I don't know what's the thing, what's the reason behind it, but they normally do like this. So I was just thinking that people who are prone to drinking alcohol also can think of Krishna, right? So there's no prohibition in thinking of Krishna. And in this way, they can purify their lives and go back home, back to Godhead. We see that although Jagai and Madai were very sinful and were always drunk, right? They also eventually surrendered to Krishna and, became great devotees of the Lord. So just talking about liquor, do you know that there's an ocean of liquor in this material world? Yes. And if you like to go there, you can go, but you have to perform certain pious activities in order to go to these planets, right? In the 5th canto, there's a very nice description of the universe, and it's very well orchestrated on how that one who performs these pious activities can be situated in either one of these. It's a heavenly kingdom, basically, heavenly abode with, these different islands. They call the 7 islands, and can go there. But we as devotees, we do not wish to go to these planets because there's always birth and death in this material world, right? Samsara. And therefore, we worship the Supreme Lord to go to our eternal home, the spiritual world. Because if we go to the heavenly abodes, then we will come back here. So what's the use of going to the heavenly abodes? And also, people like drinking alcohol, but they have no knowledge that, when they go to the hellish regions, just by drinking alcohol, they will go to the hellish regions, and their tongue will be ripped off. There's a certain hell for those who basically drink alcohol, intoxicants, basically, and their tongues will be ripped off. So as devotees, we follow the 4 regulative principles: no meat eating, no illicit sex, no intoxication, and no gambling. And this is actually purifying us just by following these 4 regulative principles. So yeah, I was talking about the 7 islands, and they are surrounded by different oceans as well. So let's hear about them, right? We find that the inhabitants of these places have very strong sensory powers, intelligence, longevity, mental and physical strength, and bravery. So the first island I want to talk about is Jambudweep. Jambudweep is surrounded by salt water, and it is 800,000 miles. The next one is Plakshadweep, which is surrounded by sugarcane juice. Can you imagine? Sugarcane juice. I guess we can't go for a swim there, right? Because we'll be all so sticky after we come out. And it's 1,600,000 miles. The next is Somali Dweep, and that is surrounded by liquor, right? And it's called Sur Sagar, and it's 3,200,000 miles. The next one is Kusha Dweep. It's surrounded by liquid ghee and clarified butter, and that is 6,400,000 miles. And basically on Kusha Dweep, we have Kusha grass that is planted there, and it emanates very soothing and mild and, very mild and pleasing rays that illuminates in all directions. So we know the Kusha grass is normally used in rituals, and they perform many rituals there as well to satisfy certain demigods like that. Then we go to the next one, which is called Kronchadweep, and that is 12,800,000 miles. It's basically surrounded by an ocean of milk. So basically, we know that Svetadweep is also an ocean of milk where Lord Vishnu lies. But this is different. This is in the material world. This is the ocean of milk called Kronchadweep. And then we have the Sakadweep. Sakadweep is an ocean of yogurt. And that is 25,600,000 miles. The next one is Pushkara Dweep. Pushkara Dweep is surrounded by tasteful water, and it is 51,200,000 miles. So like this, there's great detail given in the Vedic scriptures, especially the Srimad Bhagavatam, of these different islands and the structure of the universe. Actually, it's fascinating to see how wonderful these these places are described, and their dimensions are also given to us. So one has to amass a lot of pious credits in order to go there. But the devotees, as I said, we do not want to go there because all these places are of birth and death, and therefore we need to focus on remembering Krishna and worshiping Krishna in order to go home, back to Godhead. Then the next point that Krishna says in this verse is that I am the light of the sun. In Srila Prabhupada's purports, he says that the sun is the reflection of the Brahma Jyoti that is emanating from Krishna's body. Now, I don't know if you see pictures of Krishna, and he has this halo around him. That halo is representing the Brahma Jyoti, the light that is emanating from Krishna's body, right? So basically, great personalities, you will find a halo around them. So this is what the Brahma Jyoti is, and this light from the Brahma Jyoti is emanating from Krishna's body, which is reflected on the sun, and that's how the sun gets its power. The sun is situated in outer space called Antariksha, and is worshipped by the Gayatri mantra. The sun god is riding on a chariot, and when he traverses Bhumandala, this plane that we are on, the middle planetary system, then he traverses a circumference of 760,800,000 miles. And he does, in a moment, he does 160,000 miles in a moment. So basically, how is a moment calculated? It's like it's less than a second, you know. In university we study astronomy and all of these things, but we do not get such detailed information of these planetary systems. Why? It's because Prabhupada, as he states in the Sri Upanishad, that we are suffering from the 4 defects, right? And therefore we cannot get perfect knowledge. So the 4 defects are imperfect senses, we are always to be illusioned, we have the cheating propensity, and we're sure to commit mistakes. So this is the 4 defects that the living entity suffers from, especially human beings. And to err is human. And Prabhupada states in the purport of the Bhagavatam, the first verse, that basically Gandhi was warned not to go to a meeting in Delhi, but he went anyway, and that was his mistake. He was assassinated, right? And to be illusion, we are always thinking, or the living entity is always thinking of that which is not, that, he is the body, but he's not the body, right? And I should work hard and enjoy because I live once. So we hear this phrase all the time. They're ignorant of the fact that this human life is very rare, and you may only get it once in the revolutionary cycle of 8,400,000 species of life. So maybe that's what they're referring to, they only live once, because only once you may get this, it's very rare, you may get this human form of birth. So so we should basically not waste our time in this material world going through all these species of life, when at the same time we can think of Krishna, worship Krishna, and we can gain pleasure thousands and thousands of times greater than an ordinary living entity, just by worshiping the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And obviously in the spiritual world, it's blissful. And then we go on to the next one, which is the cheating propensity. Although we may be fool number 1, yet we profess to have very high intelligence. In that, Prabhupada says that we write philosophy books and we cheat the public. This is the disease, cheating, right? So we may even get the Nobel Prize for that. But actually our knowledge is imperfect. The perfect knowledge can be gotten from the Vedic scriptures. Then we go on to the imperfect senses. Our eyes are so defective that we cannot even see what's going on in the next room. And we say, show me God. So what qualifications do we have to see God, right? And as we get older, we need glasses and our eyesight deteriorates. And we, until and unless we develop the eyes to see God, then only can we see him with love, basically. So in the Brahma Samhita, it is stated, Premanjani, Churito Bhakti Vilochanena, Shanta Sadeva Ridresha Vilokayanti. So basically, we need the eyes that is tinged with the salve of love in order to see Krishna. There's a nice story in the Srimad Bhagavatam, wherein Bulva Mangala Thakur, right? So I'll just relate the story quickly of Bulva Mangala Thakur. And he basically was born in a Brahmin family, but he was seeing a prostitute. And in the middle of the night, his father had passed away, and he was doing some rituals, and he did the ritual so fast that, in order to just get rid of the body and, he wanted to go and see this prostitute. So it was a very dark and stormy night. The wind was howling and the rain was pouring like torrents of rain. And he had to cross this river in order to go and see her. So he held on to something, and afterwards he realized that it was a dead body that he held on to in order to cross the river. And when he got to a house, he had to, climb up the wall to go to the window. And there was something hanging on, and he thought it was a rope. And he basically held the rope and went through. But actually, it was a snake. So he thought the snake to be a rope, and he held it, and he climbed the wall to go and see her. Eventually, he went in, and he saw her, and she was surprised that, in the dead of the night, in such a devastating storm, that Bovamangala Thakur came to see her. And she preached to him. She says, if you had this attachment for the Supreme Lord Krishna that you have for me, you would make so much of spiritual advancement. And basically, she became his guru, for telling him that and making him realize his mistake. Eventually, excuse me, let me just have some water. Eventually, he thought about this, and he says, yes, I need to go to Vrindavan in order to purify my life and make my life successful. So he, as he was going to Vrindavan, a holy man, a sadhu, approached him and invited him to his house. And there he was served by the sadhu's wife. And in this way, he became attracted to her, because he still did not give up this propensity, So he asked the sadhu, please, can I have a moment with your wife? So basically, if somebody, they're very cultured people, and he was dressed as a mendicant, and if sadhu asks for anything, you basically give it, right? Whatever it may be. So in this way, the sadhu agreed, and he says, yes, you can have a moment with my wife. And Bovamangala Thakur was so degraded that when he went into the room, he told the sadhu's wife, please, may I borrow your hairpins? Because he realized his mistake. And when he got the hairpins, he dug up his eyes, because he says, this eyes are so contaminating. It's bringing me my downfall, in that, I'm seeing this beautiful woman and I want to enjoy with her. So better, I dig off my eyes so I don't see again. So in this way, he somehow made it to Vrindavan. And there, he became so Krishna conscious and made so much progress in his spiritual life that he could see Krishna. He saw Krishna face to face. So how would you say that he saw Krishna? He did not have eyes, but through his inner eyes, through his transcendental eyes, he saw Krishna. Right. So this is what we need to develop, our transcendental eyes. Right. So by the following of the process of Krishna consciousness, the process of bhakti, we can develop transcendental eyes. So we go on, we see that our senses are so imperfect. Even our hearing diminishes as we get older, right? And we need hearing aids like this. So all our senses are very defective. Our senses fail us, basically. The next point that Krishna says in this verse is that Pranava Sarva Vejeshu. I am the syllable Om in Vedic mantras. Srila Prabhupada states that the Om represents Krishna. And, although we're not against the impersonalists, but Prabhupada bring out these impersonal philosophies in order to show that how personalism is above this. And he says that they are afraid to address Krishna by his innumerable names. And instead they address him by the Omkara. And he says, basically the Omkara is the beginning of all Vedic sound. And we chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, and it does not have Om in it. right? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So, because the Maha Mantra includes all Vedic mantras, all Vedic sounds, it includes in the Maha Mantra. Maha means great, Man means mind, and Tra means to feel, to free the mind. So it is the greatest chant for deliverance in this material world, because in this Kali Yuga, our minds give us a lot of problems. You know, the most suffered disease in this world is depression and anxiety, stress like this. It's all to deal with the mind. So in this age of Kali, the Maha Mantra can free us from all these diseases, right? Like this. This is just a material a benefit from chanting the holy names of Krishna, but the real benefit is to attain love for Krishna, right? So, yeah, so the chanting of Om is given, and we also chant the Om when we chant before the class, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. We're paying our respects to Krishna, the son of Vasudeva, who is called Vasudev. So there's a difference between Vasudev and Vasudev. Vasudev is the father of Krishna, and Vasudev is Krishna. So there's a long A. The long A represents Krishna, and the short A represents the father, right? So Krishna, so, oh my Lord Vasudev, all-pervading personality of Godhead, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. So we see that the impersonalists, they chant Om and they concentrate on the light, right? The light, as I said before, is the Brahma Jyoti that's emanating from Krishna's body. And they want to become one with God. So they get Krishna fulfills the desires of every living entity, and he gives them that opportunity. But when they go to the Brahma Jyoti, there's no activity there. So when the piety is exhausted, then they have to come back to this material world and climb the evolutionary scale again, the evolutionary cycle of 8,400,000 species of life, you know, and to take a human birth is very rare, and, you know, get the human birth, and who knows, you know. So this world is a world of samsara, birth and death. It's like a Ferris wheel, right? We're going up and down, and we're not making any progress. But just by chanting the Maha Mantra, we can make progress to the spiritual realm, back home, back to Godhead. So please, devotees, please take advantage of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, and let's all try to make it to go back home, back to Godhead. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. I'll stop here with this presentation. And if there's any comments, you're most welcome to make them now. Hare Krishna. If there's no questions or comments, then we can just have a short kirtan.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Accept humble obeisance to all glories to Prabhupada. Mataji, I've got a question.
Yes.
I know the place called Vrindavan. You said there's no birth and there's no death, you said.
Yes.
So can you fall down from there? In other words, can you go into a lower planet from there? If you commit any offenses or sinful activities.
So Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita, he says that once we go back, because we've already been in this material world, and once we go back, then we don't come back to this material world, because we've already tasted the miseries of this material world, so we don't come back. Yeah, so that's what Krishna states in the Bhagavad Gita. Once having gone back to the spiritual world, we don't fall back in this material world.
Thank you so much, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna, please accept mine as well.
Thank you so much for this wonderful class, Mataji. It's always so enlightening. And I liked one point today that you made, that Mahamantra doesn't only have spiritual benefits, it also has material benefits. That was amazing. Thank you so much for that, Mataji.
Yes, it has many. Actually, when chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, our aim is spiritual, but there's many side benefits, you know, that material elements that come with it, you know. So it's natural that we, you know, try to worship Krishna, and we get the benefits, both material and spiritual as well. But we should focus on the spiritual benefits more, right?
Yeah, wonderful, Mataji. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Anything
Hare
else?
Krishna.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Please accept mine as well. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna. Okay. So mine is you know, when one is in an altered state of mind. So we were talking about alcohol, you know, when a person is drunk, right? So when one is in an altered state of mind, right? But he thinks of Krishna, right? In that state of mind, he will be chanting and singing and probably, you know, speaking about Krishna and his glories and all of that there. So I remember reading somewhere in Srila Prabhupada's Lilamrita a long time ago about this man that wrote a letter to Srila Prabhupada, and I think he was in an intoxicated state of mind. So my question is, these souls that remember Krishna in their altered state of mind, is it beneficial for them? What they have benefits? Do they have benefits?
Yes. Anyone who chants Hare Krishna, or anyone who thinks of Krishna and speak about him also, will get the benefit. You know, his heart will become cleansed just by the name. The name of Krishna is so powerful that it can destroy millions and millions of sins within the heart. So whether you're in an intoxicated state or in whatever state, and you take Krishna's name, you will be benefited. I hope that answers the question.
Jai, yeah.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
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 Krishna,
Krishna.
Denton.
Hare Krishna. I just found it very interesting, you know, we've done the Bhagavad Gita in your classes, and we've recently started the Sri Upanishad. And, you know, these different yugs that we're living in, and now obviously we're in the Kali Yuga, and this original Vedic teaching where they had so much knowledge, I mean, the dimensions of the planets, the people also used to live longer then, and they were wiser then. It's interesting now in Kali Yuga, we think we're advancing, like now we're sending rockets up to Mars and we're exploring these planets. But meanwhile, this knowledge was already there. It's almost like, have we progressed or have we gone backwards? It's almost like there was more knowledge then than there is now. I find that very interesting.
Yes, this knowledge is available. You just need to know where to tap, you know, where to get this knowledge. So yes, the knowledge is available. It's unfortunate that the scientists do not know it, right? But if they read Srimad Bhagavatam, obviously they will gain this knowledge. But they want to, because they don't believe in God, and they say there's no God, you know, and that everything happens by chance. So therefore, they cannot access this knowledge. It's only by surrender can you access spiritual knowledge, which is the most perfect. Otherwise, you just regress in your life. you
Yes,
do not
but
make any progress.
yeah, because I don't know whether this to be fact, but I've read it on numerous occasions. They say Einstein, when he went into a transcendental state, he could almost read Vedic literature coming through. And when he developed his theory of relativity, he actually got it through a Vedic language. He could actually, Sanskrit. Yeah. I
Yes.
find, it really fascinates me that
Yes.
it's almost like those powerful formulas come from somewhere of great, it's not from man.
Yes, because he's probably being a yogi in his previous life, and that is why he could, he's getting all this knowledge, and he could basically tap into the Vedic alphabets and gain this knowledge, because he was so basically Einstein had lots of philosophy as well, and where is this philosophy coming from, right? It has to be coming from previous life that he's thinking like this. So yes, so yeah, I would say, and because of maybe some misuse of the Vedic scriptures, then he's taken birth, outside the Vedic paradigm, basically.
Answer.
So, yeah, it's fascinating. The Bhagavatam is fascinating. Srila Prabhupada's purports are fascinating, because Prabhupada said that, he wrote these purports in his ecstasy, basically. So, yes, so we're getting this pure knowledge coming from a pure soul, and coming from the spiritual world. So we cannot doubt these scriptures, right?
Try.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
If there's no more questions, then we can do a short kirtan. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha, Radha Nata Radha, Radha Nata Radhe. Jaya Giri Govardhan, Giri Govardhan, Giri Govardhan, Jaya Giri Govardhan, Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, Go Premanande, Hari Hari Bol, Hare Krishna. Vanchakalpa Tarubhescha, Kripa Sindhubhi Evacha, Patitanam Pavanabhyo, Vaishnavibhyo, Namo Namaha. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Maji, thank you so much. Haribol.
Hare Bol.